Hi everyone, welcome back. It's Moa, aka Swedish Whiskey Girl, and today we are gonna do the answer section of the little Q&A that I promised a few videos ago when we reached 4,000 subscribers here on YouTube. Still can't believe that. And I've had so many lovely messages, and I just want to say thank you so much. It makes me so happy to see that there's so many kind of recurring faces and new faces coming in here, and yeah, I'm glad you want to share this whiskey journey with me. So let's have a look at some of the questions. I have them here in front of me if you're wondering why I'm looking down all the time. One question I've been getting quite a lot is if I'm actually Swedish, and I am Swedish, I promise you. I was born and raised in Sweden, moved abroad when I was 19, and when I did that I moved to London to be a nanny for a family for about half a year, but before that I was also a tour guide in the Alps in both the summer and the winter, and I still think of the Alps as kind of my second home, especially in Verbier in Switzerland, where I did my first winter season, and then ended up here in Scotland, and I haven't left since. But I do promise you I am Swedish, and yeah, I just thought Swedish Whiskey Girl was a good name because it would be self-explanatory. I am Swedish, I am a girl, and I like whiskey. But I do get that question a lot, and I don't mind people asking it, of course, but it's, yeah, I promise, I'm from Sweden. Maybe I should just speak a little bit more Swedish, or have a little bit more of an accent to see if that would convince people more. But like I said, I don't mind the question, but I think it's quite funny when people don't believe me. I don't know where people think I'm from. Yeah, I have a very Swedish name as well. But yeah, that's a great question. Also have a question which I thought was quite funny, if I've ever considered making a ASMR video, kind of soft-spoken whiskey review. And it makes me happy to hear that people like listening to my voice, because that's always one of the biggest concerns that you'll have when you do video content or any kind of audio content. I've actually done an ASMR video before, but not with me speaking in it. I don't know, I still feel a bit nervous about that, but if there is someone who wants to hear that, I might consider doing that in the future. So let me know what you would like to see, if you would like to see an ASMR video. And another question, which is quite difficult to answer: which is my favourite Scottish whiskey region, and which country outside of Scotland would you say makes my favourite whiskey? I feel like I'm gonna betray someone. And I don't know. What is my favourite whiskey region? It kind of depends, because of course, as everyone does, you go through like cycles of whiskey. So one week you might love Speyside whiskies, and half a year later you love Campbelltown. Maybe it's because I visited it recently. But Speyside does have an appeal because the people, I was up there 2 weeks ago, and the people are so lovely. They are wonderful, and it's nice because the more you kind of get into the whiskey industry, or into the whiskey world, the more you realise how small it is. So you meet people that know someone you know, or they saw you ages ago in an old job or something like that, and it's just wonderful. But I don't know, Islay is also incredible, because I think because I've had the opportunity to visit Speyside and Islay, they are kind of taking a step up on the on the list, just because I like both the whiskey from the region and the people I've met there, and visiting the place, which I think plays such a huge part in, if you like whiskey, if you've been there, it's definitely going to have more of a memory association and mean something more to you. Just because I had such a good time when I was there, I'm going to have to say Speyside at the moment. Yeah, difficult to say. And also, of course, I do want to say Sweden, of course, as a country of whiskey making. But I just love Taiwanese whiskey. But I also find Japanese whiskey interesting lately. No, do you know what? When I read that, I thought Taiwan, so I'm gonna say Taiwan. I also don't have that much experience with it. Maybe that's why that's what pops up into my head, but the Catalan solists that I've tried, they suit my flavour preferences so well. So I'm gonna have to say Taiwan for now. Ask me in half a year and I might say something different. But great question. Let's have a look. Well, yeah, this is a good question. So it's from someone who's been trying their best to understand different flavours and thought he was getting it, but he did a taste test with different bottles and tried to identify them and didn't get one single one right. And getting that kind of frustration of it, sticking to it and trying to improve, but it's a bit frustrating when you feel like you might not be progressing or it's still very difficult. And the question was how long before you could identify different tastes and flavour profiles. And I'm about to give up. Don't give up. It is very difficult. And I mean, sometimes it's just a bit of a struggle. I think what really helped me, I would say maybe 1 year after I started drinking whiskey, I started to be able to be like, this might be this kind of cask. This is what I'm getting from this. But it's all about practice. And I mean, the more you talk to someone about it, the more you put words to your thoughts, I think it makes it a lot easier. But what also really helped me was learning about, say you're drinking a 12-year-old experiment cask Scotch whiskey. What flavours do you might expect from that whiskey? The 12-year-old, what aromas might that give you? Is it a Highlands, a Speyside, a peated one? What do you might expect from that region? Because what you can do then, if you go through it and you nose it and you go, oh, it's a Speyside. Is it fruity? Yes, no? If yes, what kind of fruitiness? Is it red fruits? Is it blue fruits? Is it green fruits? Is it ripe fruits? Is it unripe fruits? Is it cooked fruits? Is it fresh fruits? Is it artificial fruits? Like, it's just kind of finding all the different categories. That's what I do when I do reviews. I go through a list in my head, like, is it this, 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 this? And if you say no to all of them, that's totally fine. But then you know what it isn't, which can help you figure out what it is. And I mean, if you can't tell what they are, if you just want to enjoy them, I do that sometimes. And it's actually one of the things that when I have drams with someone and I turn up at somewhere and people are like, what are you getting on this? And I feel a bit like I'm pushed against the wall and I'm like under pressure to find things. I don't work, my nose doesn't work as well as when I'm sitting down here basically talking to myself. I'm very glad you're on the other side listening, but it's basically just talking to myself and I can go, oh, this is a bit like apple. And then I go, do you know what? It's not. Is it like cinnamon apples? Is it like, and you can kind of just talk to yourself. But it's also really good if you have things in your house like cinnamon. Maybe nose cinnamon and actually realize what cinnamon is. Because I had some cinnamon sticks for a cocktail I made the other week. And when I nosed it, I was like, this is actually not what I thought cinnamon was like. It's more floral when you actually have real cinnamon sticks. Because in my head, cinnamon was sweet, because it's a spice that you usually use in baking. So that helps me identify cinnamon in a way. Is it cinnamon sticks, that kind of more floral, woody, natural, I guess, character? Or is it baking cinnamon, which is usually mixed with sugar? I don't know if this made any sense, but yeah, it's a bit complicated, but the more you practice, the easier it gets. I still can't blind guess all whiskies, and I don't think I'll ever will do that, but it's also not what I'm trying to do. So if that's what you are trying to do, then you can of course practice that. But it can also be interesting to, I'm going to say one last thing here, to compare whiskies that are really different. So if you have a peated, a sherried and an ex-bourbon, for example, or if you have 3 ex-bourbon casks that are similar age, to see why they are different. And when you've pinpointed what's different in them, try to figure out why they're different. Is it because they are produced differently? That's usually a big thing. Is it different cask types? Is it different ages? Is one peated? Is one not peated? So yeah, just finding things that are similar but also different and going through that kind of list. That's my advice, I think. I'm just reading those questions, it's just funny. One question here was, why hasn't Cody asked you to marry him yet, or vice versa? we're not in any rush. Yeah, I don't know. I don't feel pressured into that, and I don't think he does either, but I don't know. If it happens, it happens, I guess. Stay tuned, we'll see what happens. But oh yeah, this question was, and I do get this one a lot as well on Instagram, where I get my small bottles to try. And often I get PR samples, so that either people or brands send them out to me to try for tasting notes or for reviews or just for exposure and social content. And I never would let my opinions be bought by anyone, of course, and it is easy to see PR samples as something you get for free, but technically you are getting them because you've worked at something to a point where you are able to offer something in exchange. So it's more of a PR product rather than when you just see it being a free gift, which if you put gifted, a lot of people think it's just a gift, but PR samples. But sometimes I get them from tasting kits that I buy if I want to be part of, let's say, a distillery tasting for a Spirit of Speyside or for something that Master Malt is doing. Then I can buy a tasting set, and that usually has a few different ones, and then I save them and see if it's anything that you guys would like to see a review of. But in the UK it's also great because you can buy little samples in a lot of places. So in my old job at the Scotch Whisky Experience, they have a nice section of samples that are mainly core range. So usually if I'm like, oh, I want to review say Glenmorangie 10 or Ardbeg 10, I can go pick up a sample, which means I don't have to buy a full bottle because I can't afford that much whiskey. But they're great, really, really good. So I don't know if it is just in the UK they have these little bottles, because I know a lot of people have said, like asked about it, which makes me think that it might not be available everywhere. But if you know it's available in your country and you know somewhere it is available, put it in the comment section below and maybe we can help each other find what we're looking for. Also this question, which is so difficult. Love to hear your thoughts on things you wish you knew when you were starting a whiskey YouTube account. Oh, what did I even know? One main thing, Cody's helped me a lot because he did some research and find little technical things. So when we bought a ring light, that really helps with kind of feel in the room. Now it's really, really dark, but at least you get some light. But that's my microphone. If you're editing in some sort of software, to turn off the background noise, this seems very technical, but it's a little button usually, you just press it and it removes the background noise, which you can hear on some of my videos because sometimes I forget to turn it off and it annoys me so much. It's one of those things that I'm like, when I hear it, I'm like, it makes me so sad. But it's this kind of just like background noise that's buzzing. You can hear it in some other videos as well, and as soon as you hear it you can unhear it, but that's a really good one if you want the audio to be a little bit crisper. I really, really hope I don't forget to turn it off on this video, because that would be a nightmare. But now that I've said it and I'm gonna look myself in the eyes when I say it, I should think that I'm not gonna forget. Well, thank you so much for sending your questions in. I'm going to round that off for a little Q&A this time. If you think this is fun, or if you'd like me to do a Q&A maybe live, let me know. I'm always open for suggestions, so if there is something in particular you'd like to see on the channel, let me know. I'm not as scary as I look, so if you have any other questions that I've missed or that you just thought of, put them in the comment section here below and I'll try my best to get back to you. And yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this little video. I've enjoyed seeing your questions and answering them, so I hope it was some alright answers. If anything was unclear, let me know and I'm happy to kind of develop it further. But I hope to see you in the next video. I actually have a dram in front of me, so I'm going to do my normal outro. But thank you so much for watching, and cheers to 4K subscribers again. I'm so happy each and single one of you are here. Sláinte Skål!